Some encounters don't just change your plans, they change your understanding of the world. And in the summer of 2026, above Deadwood Dam in Idaho, a seasoned hiker with nearly 50 years of wilderness experience came face to face with something he could not explain. Something that rose from the shadows and walked away on two legs, as if the forest itself had decided to stand up. Welcome back to Rick's Storyverse. Tonight's story takes us deep into the Boise National Forest, where the pines grow thick, the hillsides drop steep into cold water, and the silence carries weight. This is the extended account of the Deadwood Dam encounter, told with every detail the witness remembered, every moment that made him question everything he thought he knew about the wilderness. He had been hiking Deadwood Reservoir since the late 70s. Born and raised in Boise, he grew up exploring the backcountry, long before smartphones, GPS, or online maps. Over the decades, he'd seen it all. Black bears lumbering through berry patches, moose standing like statues in the shallows, wolves slipping between the trees like smoke, even mountain lions crossing trails with a ghost-like glide. He knew the difference between a bluff charge and a curious stare, between a predator's silence and a herbivore's clumsy movement. The forest was familiar to him, predictable, honest. That's why he trusted his instincts when they told him something was wrong. On June 13, 2026, he arrived at Deadwood Reservoir for a simple overnight trip. The dam sat below him like a slab of old concrete, holding back a long stretch of cold water, fed by a network of creeks that carved through the hills. The terrain above the dam was rugged, steep slopes, thick pine, deep shade. Even at midday, the kind of place where sunlight breaks into thin strips and the air feels cooler than it should. He hiked upward along a narrow trail, the reservoir glinting far below. The forest was quiet, almost too quiet. No birds, no rustling brush, just the distant murmur of water moving through the canyon. He paused to drink, letting the silence settle. That's when he heard it. A grunt, deep, resonant, almost pig-like, but heavier. It rolled through the trees in a way that made his skin tighten. He frowned, listening. Bear's grunt, yes, but this sounded different. Lower, more controlled, almost intentional. Another grunt followed, a little closer this time. He scanned the hillside, expecting movement, but the forest remained still. No snapping branches, no shifting shadows, just that strange guttural sound echoing through the pines. He stepped forward slowly, trying to pinpoint the source. Then he saw it. At first, it looked like a mound of reddish brush, tucked into the shade. But as his eyes adjusted, the shape sharpened into something unmistakably alive. Shoulders, back, long hair. Something crouched low, facing away from him, massive and broad. He stared, trying to make sense of it. The creature rose, not like a bear rearing up, not like a moose shifting its weight. It stood with purpose, straightening on two legs, tall and heavy, its head set directly on its shoulders, with no visible neck. The torso was long, the arms even longer, hanging almost to its knees. The chest was enormous, built like a barrel, and covered in long, reddish cinnamon hair that caught faint streaks of the sunlight. His breath froze. The creature turned slightly, giving him a partial view of its face, covered in hair, with a protruding brow and a jaw that looked too wide for any animal he knew. Its proportions were wrong for anything native to Idaho. The torso was too long, the arms too extended, and the stride too smooth. For a moment, neither moved. The creature didn't roar, it didn't posture. It simply acknowledged him with a subtle shift of its head, as if deciding whether he mattered. Then it walked away. The gait was unmistakably human. Long strides, steady pace, no wobble, no hesitation. It climbed the hillside effortlessly, disappearing into deep shade where the forest swallowed its outline. He stood alone, heart pounding, unable to process what he had just witnessed. He waited for a bit, listening for more grunts, more movement, anything. But the forest had gone silent again, as if the encounter had pressed the mute button on the world. Eventually, he returned to camp. He made lunch, but barely ate. He sat in the quiet, replaying the moment over and over, every detail, every proportion, every step. He thought about his brother's sighting back in 1991, a story he used to tease him about. He wasn't laughing now. The next morning, he packed his gear and left Deadwood Reservoir behind, driving back to Boise with a mind full of questions and a heart full of unease. Days later, he contacted the BFRO. He didn't want attention. He didn't want fame. He just wanted someone to listen. Investigator Matthew Moneymaker interviewed him, noting his decades of experience, his calm demeanor, and his clear descriptions. The witness wasn't confused. He wasn't exaggerating. He wasn't guessing. He knew what he saw. And in the wilderness above Deadwood Dam, the pines still stand silent, guarding whatever else might be living in their shade. I'd like to end the story with a poem, and here's the poem. In forest deep where shadows climb, a moment froze the breath of time. A shape arose from shaded gloom, a silent watcher in the room. Its stride was calm, its presence vast, a glimpse of something from the past. No roar, no threat, no need to fight. It simply walked into the night. Yet still its memory grips the mind, a truth the hiker left behind. For some things walk where few dare tread, and linger long when fear has fled. Well, that's another story from the edge of night. Please like and subscribe to keep the torch alight. But beware, every Friday night a new story emerges from the shadows into the light. Good night.